Beautiful. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is. Once you walk in here, there is no time. It's right. We're just living in the moment. Yeah. Living the gift. Yes. So welcome to your service, Center for Spiritual Living Paradise, or a Paradise Center for Spiritual Living. We're going to be talking about that. Oh, my list. So anyway, welcome everyone. And for our live stream audience, welcome, and we're so glad that you are joining us as we are coming together and regrouping, rebuilding, starting the process of seeing what is next, what exciting things will unfold. And for those of you out there in online viewing, we invite you to come and join if you are so inspired and to be a part of the forward movement of what is going to be happening here. So, perfect. All right. So would you stand? And we are going to sing This Little Light of Mine, accompanied by Alan. And does everybody have a little sheet? Can I have one? Not a problem. And Jay, would you turn me off? Brilliant. Yes.
Yes, thank you, Alan. It does take us back. It does. It's a great song. Here, I won't move your glasses, Christine. I'll be right there. There you go. So, hi, everybody. Good to see you all. We decided that we're going to change our order of service so we can get done with the business before Molly gets into meditation. I think that's a much better way. So, Molly will begin our spiritual Sunday. We have new membership forms. They're blue. They are in the social hall. I would really appreciate all of you filling one out, even if you've given me your address change. Please just fill it out. We're recreating our records. All of the membership cards that were given to me, we lost in the fire. So I want to recreate a new database with the proper information. So please complete it. It looks complicated, but it's not. The main thing you want to know is that being a member of the center allows you to vote at congregational meetings, vote for our upcoming budget. It allows for you to be on committees. There's many perks to being a member. So please fill one of these out, give it back to me. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to talk to you after the service. And that leads us to next Wednesday, the 12th of June. Reverend Christine is having 3 gatherings on the 12th, 19th, 26th, 10 o'clock until 11:30 in the morning at Sycamore Glen Active Retirement Community on Diablo Avenue. So if you need help with directions or anything, you can talk to me about that. This is going to be a time for us to get together and really begin our healing process. We've been spread out all over the place for a very long time. And these 3 gatherings are going to allow us that time where we can come together as a spiritual family, as spiritual community, and truly begin our healing process with all of our spiritual family members. So again, 12th, 19th, 26th, 10 to 11:30 at Sycamore Glen. And another thing that is going on for a long time here, I believe through September, Crystal told me, there's the holistic healing that takes place here. This is a free service, free. There are such things as Reiki and massage and all kinds of things, right? Christine, you were here yesterday to see. This is free to us on the 2nd and 4th Sundays of the month. Saturday, thank you. 2nd and 4th Saturdays of the month, 2 until 4 o'clock. So that is open to everybody that can use a little bit of healing in their life. What I wanted to talk to you about, Alan, is I always put you on the spot, and I know you love it secretly. Let's talk about the gigs you have coming up. Party in the Park, June 26th.
June 26th, Party in the Park in Paradise.
That's right.
Rumble in the Rubble.
Absolutely. So let me just tell them about that. Party in the Park is beginning this coming Wednesday at Paradise Community Park. 5:30, Jay? 5 o'clock. Change the time. 5 o'clock until dusk. And so Alan's band is playing on the 26th. And you're playing with Rube when?
The next week.
Okay, the following week he'll play with Rube and the Rhythm Rockers. So it's all about Alan, and I love that.
The 21st, I'm playing a benefit in Magalia for the Magalia Community Church.
Awesome.
Who's done so much work up there trying to provide for the people that need it the most.
Thank you, Alan, for that. The Magalia Community Church has been instrumental in giving people 3 hot meals a day, or is it 2? I think it's 2 hot meals a day. They've provided showers. They've provided free water to anybody who needs it, because even though we were told our water in Magalia is fine, we're still drinking bottled water. So that's a great thing. Thank you for doing that, Alan.
Just done so much tirelessly.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for your generosity, too.
Bless my band for doing it.
Yes. What? Yeah, when's your concert on Cana Highway? That's the one you're talking about, right? Where are you doing the Magalia one?
In Magalia.
You're going to do it at the
At
church?
the church.
Awesome.
It's a Friday night, the 21st.
Awesome. So we'll be sending that out in an e-blast for you. So that's all I have. Any questions about anything, just feel free to see me in the social hall. And it's always good to be back with all of you. So Molly, are you ready to begin your meditation?
Get my bowl ready. Good afternoon. I got it. Yesterday was the 7th month remembrance of the campfire. And in those months, we have tended to our safety, our family's safety, our community's safety. We've witnessed and validated our pain and our loss and that of the community. And we're beginning to get a little foothold on what might come next, the bigger picture. The adrenaline rush has subsided a bit, and we are moving into a new phase, another phase, an important phase.
And this beautiful teaching and this Paradise Center has been instrumental and invaluable in allowing us to move through this chaos and this trauma with some measure of grace. Sometimes it didn't look so graceful, and a whole lot of hope moving forward. And part of that moving forward and part of the excitement of this marker, is the addition of Reverend Christine to lead us and guide us as we develop ideas of where we want to go next, what we want to do, how we want to be, what we want to look like, and to tend to our self-care as we service to others in our community and the greater community. So we're excited, and I love that. And so let's take some time this morning to go within and really recognize how our diversity can become our ally when we release our grip on the past and on how we think things should have looked or how they should look. And we move forward through the moment in a sense of stability so that we can get a clear vision of where we might want to go next and what that might look like. Because our experience of this upheaval can really ignite our sense of creativity. It's a very important opportunity, and we're far enough along that we might be able to glimpse that now, the jewel in the lotus that is there waiting for us. And we can know and really magnify and express our spiritual magnificence as we move forward. So we'll take a few moments now. I'm going to ring the mindfulness bell 3 times. And the first bell is for the Buddha, they say, but this is for the teachers, all the great teachers of all of the backgrounds, ancient and otherwise. Ernest Holmes and the whole New Thought movement, and Buddha and Christ and Muhammad. So a bell for all the teachers. And the second bell is for the Dharma, or all the teachings themselves, the science of mind teachings, the great metaphysical teachings, the teachings of the Buddha, the teachings of the Quran, the teachings of Christianity, the teachings of Islam, all of the teachings of Judaism, of shamanism, of all of them. So a bell for the great teachings that we hold dear. And the third bell is for the Sangha, the community, our intimate community here at Paradise Center for Spiritual Living, our greater community of CSL, of all the seekers in all the places in every corner of the world that are holding their hearts open and welcoming to all peoples and all humanity. So a bell for the Sangha, the community of believers. So allowing your eyes to gently close, take a few deep breaths. And allow your body to take in all the air that it needs. And release any immediate tension that we might feel in the body. And we might begin by inwardly thanking the divine for all the gifts in our life right now, because appreciating where we have been and where we are is a powerful instrument moving forward. So take a moment in gratitude for every experience from our past has brought us some useful knowledge and has shaped this present moment, this ability for each of us to be here now. And then just invite your mind to experience your body awareness. Notice your body and greet it with a sense of friendliness and gratitude also. Allowing your body to be comfortable and stable, dignified and upright, but not stiff. And breathe into any sense of clenching or holding and give in a bit to gravity and allow your shoulders, your belly, and your jaw to relax. And feel the connection to the earth beneath you, holding you, supporting you, nurturing you. And then tune into the rhythm of your natural breath. When we quiet the body, we quiet the mind, and with that steady mind, we can accommodate any seeming undesired circumstance that might arise. Settling the body and the mind like this relaxes the habit of allowing our thoughts to control us. It's not stopping our thinking, but rather encouraging a sense of kindness and compassion to the thoughts that arise. The relaxation of any judgment or criticism. Knowing that everything is in flux, in motion, changing, evolving. That we are not fixed in our pain. We can pause and choose what we like to focus on, realizing the fluid nature of reality. We can relax that grip on the past and that fear and anxiety of the future. And experience just being in the flow of the present moment where we can gain some clarity, some insight, some peace, some groundedness. In this space of peace, we can be open to our entire emotional landscape, allowing space for the turmoil of our mind to settle, like the sediment in a quiet pond. So relax into whatever is happening and release your resistance to uncertainty. And now bring your awareness to your heart center. The heart center where you can realize the truth that you are perfect as you are right now. You are never separated from the spacious sky-like mind. In this heart center, we can begin to feel and trust that the seeds of rebirth exist within all change, even when we don't see how right now. And as you rest in this place, you can become aware that all you have, all you need, is right within you. All the resources, all the strength, all the courage to grow your life in any direction that you choose. And the power is in the choosing. So breathe in courage to be your true self. Breathe in patience and forgiveness and discipline and abundance. Anything you feel would help you moving forward from this day into a new light of awareness. Remember that your mind and heart are connected to a divine power that gives creative authority to your thoughts and your intentions, allowing manifestation of all of your dreams. When we come into the shrine of the heart, we cultivate a genuine, peaceful, inward flow of awareness that empowers us to be agents of change, even in times of chaos. It can enable us to turn our wounds into wisdom. So sit for a moment with this knowing. You may like to bring your hand to your heart center and give thanks once again for the awareness of the light within. Take a moment to truly feel this. Feel a power and a vitality growing in you, shining from you, creating space for health and prosperity and compassion and service. And you can call on this light and this power at any time to allow you to greet each moment with mindful attention and compassionate clarity, encouraging you to seek inner stability and peace, even in the face of unpredictable change. So claim that awareness. You are a perfect expression of life. Shine that light into any dark corner, any corner of fear, and let it brighten your path. Claim that awareness and feel it manifest in your life and in the life of this community and beyond. And together we say, and so it is.
I had a song I was going to do, but I'm not going to do it. I have to play a little Professor Longhair. Dr. John.
Ooh, that's in celebration, huh? Yeah, that's great. Jay, are we using lights up here at all? Just kind of curious. Ooh, yeah, just a little less. I know, yes, careful what you ask for, right. All right. Okay. The message that I'm sharing with you today is translating heartbreak into action. And the quality or the value or the attribute, if you will, is empowerment. Yes, ma'am, go ahead. And, okay. Yes, so you are going to receive a little handout, and in a few moments, a little bit down the road, I will be talking about that, and you might want to follow along. You might even want to make some notes when we get there to that. So did I say empowerment? All right. Have I shared with you the story of the little frogs that fell in the pit? No, I haven't. Okay. Well, you know, these little frogs are actually a lot like us. And in that, they set out for their day's journey. They expected everything to be normal and wonderful. And as this group of frogs hopped along, there were 3 very, very energetic frogs that were leading the way, and they fell in a pit. And the pit was not to their liking. The pit was deep. it wasn't the kind of a pit that they, even though frogs can leap, that they could easily leap out of. And the majority of the frogs, which represents the group mindset, did not fall into the pit because they saw their brothers or sisters ahead go first. And they were very quick to give advice. They looked down and they saw how deep the pit was, and they said, "Oh my gosh, no way. No way you're going to make it out." But they knew that they had an obligation, to give some rah-rah, go for it, you can jump higher than you think. But they didn't have very much stamina. They didn't have the type of spiritual stamina at all that Molly was referring to in her meditation. And so their spirits fell very quickly, and they couldn't see much of a possibility. And so they figured that the best thing to do for their fellow froggies, brothers and sisters, was to just tell them to give up as quick as they could. Well, the three little frogs down there were just jumping with all of their might. And the frogs up above, the collective consciousness, started viewing this, and even though they were quite impressed, they were sure that they were just prolonging the inevitable. And so they just kept telling them and shouting down into the pit, "It's just too far to jump. It's too far down there. Just accept your lot, give up, that's it." And lo and behold, one of the frogs did just that and laid down and died and gave up. But the other two kept jumping. And as a matter of fact, the more they jumped, the higher they jumped. And you can imagine all the frogs, can't you just see the picture, up around the rim observing this. We're telling them it'll never work out, and yet they're jumping higher and higher and higher until all of a sudden there they are up at the top. Well, the frogs started around like, "My gosh, that was amazing. How did you do that? What was going on?" And the little frogs just kept jumping and acting like they couldn't hear. And sure enough, these two little frogs were deaf. And so when the collective consciousness of their brothers and sisters said, "How did you do it?" They said, "Well, we didn't, sign language, I wish I could do it. We didn't hear you. We thought you were encouraging us, hanging over the edge." Now that is a story about motivation. It's a story that can tell us, don't listen to everything that you hear. We know in this teaching that there is always an answer. There is no circumstance, no event that will happen, and things happen, and things will happen. They will continue to happen. Tragic things to annoying things, and everything in between. And Lao Tzu says, why separate your spiritual life and your practical life? To an integral being, there is no such distinction. So I am going to take a step out there, and I'm going to say, for all of us here, and anyone that would be listening to this or may listen to this in the future, that there is nothing, no thing, no circumstance, no experience that we will face that will not have an answer, that will not be an opportunity for us to experience rainbows down the road. But there is that little catch in between those two things, in between that big divide. And that is, as you know, our attitude, our belief, our thought. When it comes to the idea of protecting the vulnerable, which is a part of the message and how it's been designed, then I'm filling in the blanks. But empowerment is this idea of protecting the vulnerable. And I think that this teaching is the most powerful thing to protect the vulnerable in us and to protect the vulnerable who don't have the spiritual strength to stand on yet. And that is because this teaching, as Jesus put it, teaches humanity to fish. Teaches us how to think, not what to think, but how to think. And teaches us, first and foremost, that the nature of the universe is, if it's spiritual in its beginning, it is spiritual all the way through in terms of every single thing that we are and will be faced with. So if it's spiritual in its beginning, then our answer and our response and the call from within us is to stand up in spiritual principle, to stand on truth. That every circumstance and situation is an opportunity for us to draw from within in a deeper and a greater, more expansive way the truth of who we are. And a lot of times we need to just not listen to the things that we hear. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I was sitting at the service in the morning, and Dr. Carolyn McEwen was giving the message. I don't recall the title. But what I do recall is that toward the end of the service, she showed a little video up here. Trevor, remember the video about brainwashing? Yep, being brainwashed. And so here's the gist of what it was. A young man was telling his video audience that we are being brainwashed. And he began to refer specifically to the news. Now, I actually talked about this with you 2 weeks ago, and I mentioned it in terms of being mindful about what you're reading in the things that are going to be coming up with in paradise. But that was the first day that I had heard that message. And the young man went into considerable sharing of information, scientific information about the way that our brain is. And that when we constantly hear messages that are fearful and kind of the worst case scenarios, and you may have noticed in the news that after they give the fact, then they begin to speculate about what may happen, given what is happening right now. And But it hasn't happened. But there's something about the brain that I've noticed in my listening that misses that part and begins to hear all of these scary stories about what might happen in a way that feels real to me in the present moment. And so the old brain, the part of us that reverts back to fight or flight, which is important for us to have, but also that part of the brain that registers these experiences and traumas, not only from the time that we have come into this existence, but Dr. Holmes makes it really clear that we come in to this experience with patterns, negative and positive. So the bottom line of his message was, we are being brainwashed. The more you watch the news, the more products are sold. There is an investment in getting you to watch the news, and you are being brainwashed. And so if you're going to be brainwashed, why not make the choice to brainwash yourself? Same thing happening with positive messages. So what I want to share with you is I took this to heart, because I was aware of the way that how I feel, especially the last 3 years. And so I just decided, what do I have to lose? And I went in my TV and I undid the programming that automatically records CBS in the morning and automatically records PBS, and I turned off the radio in my car. Have a couple of shows like Terry Gross or All Things Considered, and if I don't like what I'm hearing when I've gone and turned it on, I turn it off. And here's what I have found, which leads me to the handout that I have for you. It's been 2 weeks. What I have experienced in the last 2 weeks is that I have space. Just clean, quiet space in between my thoughts, more than I had before. When I started putting this talk together, I wrote, in terms of teaching, this teaching being teaching a man to fish, that this is the way that we protect the vulnerable part of ourselves. And what if your ability to navigate your life from a place of spiritual realization and action was increased by 10%? And I say that because I know that each one of you already, we each have a certain amount of grounding in this spiritual truth, that God or spirit or divine intelligence is our source, that there's only one mind, and that is the mind that we're using. And as Lao Tzu said, why separate your spiritual life and your practical life? Then we need to take into our practical life the things that we're doing every day, from washing the dishes to cooking our food and doing the laundry, or answering the phone, or our meditation, our prayer treatment practice, whatever it is, to bring that grounding and that spirituality of empowerment, that I am a vessel. You are a vessel. See, we can live, and I don't know, I mean, maybe it's just me, but I clearly remember when I lived my life from the mindset that things were being done to me. That was the kingdom of consciousness that I lived in. Victim. Now, I didn't get up every morning like our little froggies and just decide, oh, today I'm going to go out and be a victim. But I didn't know this teaching, and many of the beliefs that I had come to believe, I had pressed down into below my level of conscious awareness, and I was big on fooling myself. So, it's not what you say you believe, even though it's good for us to affirm and speak truth because it trickles down. So it's not just about what we say we believe, but it's about what we really, really, really believe. And the greater the crisis, we all get to find out that that's where a lot of times what we really believe begins to show up. Now, there's no shame or blame in that. Absolutely no shame or blame. Because life will mirror for us the areas that we still get to grow. So I was contemplating in my yoga class this week, even though I wasn't supposed to be doing this, something that I wanted to change. And I was in Downward Dog, and this old Alliance song came to me. I love myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. I'll always be the perfect me, but deep inside I know I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. I love myself just the way I am. Now, the whole song didn't come to me in that moment, but the part about I'll always be I love myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. And that's really a beautiful thing. So every time we're faced with that knee-jerk reaction, that's an opportunity for us to say, I love myself the way I am. And isn't it absolutely wonderful that I recognize that I can respond in a greater way? That the way I'm responding is a way that doesn't really serve me. That I'm so much more than that. That I don't have to live my life from this kingdom consciousness of victimhood, that where I want to move, and it's a big movement. But it only takes little things to make, our little doings to make this big movement. So, where I want to go is not only am I directing the traffic of things that are coming to me, but that I'm living in the consciousness of being an avenue, a vessel for Spirit's power and empowerment. That I am recognizing just by virtue of the fact that I exist, that I am a being of power. And Dr. Holmes, in the Science of Mind textbook, in the glossary, thank goodness it's in alphabetical order, he describes power as the energy by which everything lives. That's what you are. You're that power. The power by which everything lives, the creative medium of spirit, the mental law of the universe. There's one infinite mind. It's the mind that we're using. We have access, you and I, just regular people. We have access to the people, Molly, that you were referring to in your meditation. Honoring the great souls, the Jesus, the Buddha. the new thought greats, the transcendentalists, the scientists. Dr. Holmes says in the textbook someplace, there's no cupboard that you open the door and then all of a sudden little flying machines come out of. No, what happens is that we make ourselves and allow ourselves to be a vessel, an avenue for evolution. And when we do that in our own lives, whatever it is that we need will and is surely unfolding for us. So, as I have gone through the last couple of weeks, noticing this space in myself, because I haven't been watching the news or listening to it, I guess I'm realizing right now that I really haven't analyzed it so much, the why of it, just what I started to notice. And then, lo and behold, I came across this Zen Rules to Live By, which I gave a handout for you that you can take with you if you like to. And so here's what I have just started to notice that I believe is already catapulting me into that 10%. What if my ability to navigate my life from a place of spiritual realization and action was increased over what I'm doing right now by 10%? What actions might I take that would be more courageous? What I have found is a lot of times is just to do and say nothing is the courageous thing to do. To just accept this is what's happening right now, and I'm open for wonderful, magnificent new beginnings. So, I found that a little bit more, I was doing one thing at a time. I found that because I have a lot of other positive spiritual things that I take in during the day, that they were landing because I wasn't neutralizing them with negativity, visual or auditory or both. And that as I was just automatically going, okay, I'm reading this, I could feel all of my body. I was present in the moment. I was calm. I took it in a little bit better. I was finding that I was allowing there to be some time to contemplate it. I began to say, okay, when I sit down and eat my breakfast, I'm not going to do this task at the same time. I'm just going to sit here and eat my breakfast without anything else, without watching the news, without entertaining myself, without getting something done at the same time. What a novel idea. So I ate kind of quack. I was like, okay, let's just eat and get this over with. Do it slowly and deliberately. Automatically, slowly and deliberately is what I started to do because there was space in my body. Now, this wasn't all planned out. This is what I noticed from 2 weeks, 1 week of not taking in this negativity. So when we do things slowly and deliberately, we take our time, we make our actions deliberate. And it wasn't 100% of the time, but it was 10% was enough for me to notice the difference. Now, I have talked about a lot of times that we do small things and have huge results from them. And in listening to Dr. Holmes' messages over the years and reading the textbook, he uses that analogy of the acorn seed over and over and over again, the tiny little acorn seed, and whoa. And what I see happening in the backyard is the fig tree. There's 2 fig trees in my backyard. Tiny, I imagine the fig tree initial plant was not that big, but this thing is just taking over my yard. And I had a dream that I went out into my yard and there was no blue sky. Because the fig trees were, well, you know what Chico's like. You know what paradise is like. And then I found, number 3, do things completely. Well, they're all kind of related, aren't they? You can't do something completely if you're doing a whole bunch of things at one time. Even in your mind, doing something, thinking about what's next, or thinking about something else. So in doing it completely, once I printed this out, then I upped my game. And I found this little explanation, little to-dos around this, things to think about. And it said, if you go into the kitchen and you make yourself a sandwich, don't eat your sandwich until you clean everything up and put it away. Like, all right, I'll try it. What do I have to lose? And here's what I found. The discipline that it took for me to do the cleanup ahead of time gave me greater reward when I ate my sandwich and when my sandwich was done, because I didn't have to go clean up after myself. And I have become much more efficient. So the other night, I was tired. I had some other things to do. I wanted to go to bed early. And what am I going to have for dinner? I am starving. And the only thing that I had was pasta and some pre-made sauce. And I thought about what I go through, boiling the water and cleaning the pot and cleaning the drainage and then having to find containers because I always make more because I'll eat it. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to do that. So I called the little taco truck about 4 blocks away, ordered what I wanted, took my dog for a drive, went over and picked it up. I was home in probably 7 minutes, had no cleanup whatsoever, and I had a good, healthy meal. Now, I'm saying that all of this extra 10% is a result of eliminating the negativity that I was taking in. Put space in between things. About 4 weeks ago, I remember saying, I'm going to go sit down for 20 minutes. I'm not going to pick up my phone, my iPad, a newspaper, a magazine. I'm going to see if I can do it. And it was really hard. 20 minutes is a long time. I think now I could get through at least 10 or maybe 15 and just sit and contemplate and have space. And so number 6 is a ritual. Develop rituals. A ritual could be washing your dishes. I'm going to wash my dishes and I'm going to think about something specific. Or I'm going to wash my dishes and I'm just going to watch my mind and see where it goes. Devote time to sitting. Practice being present. Organizing the garage. Taking something that's out of order and putting it in order. making a list of things that I've been wanting to do for myself, but all the busyness of the day continues to get in the way. Looking at a pile of paper that I go, well, that has to be there because there's all kinds of important things in there, and if I move it, out of sight, out of mind. I can tackle that in a very mindful way. So I put the website here because there are actually 12 things. And at that website, he also gives you just some things to think about with each one of these things that'll give you some ideas. And the other thing is, in terms of translating heartache into action, we must be proactive. First, in what we're believing about the situation. Secondly, in being really honest with ourselves about what we need. Do we ask for support? What are the services that are available to us, to you, as residents of paradise? Are you aware of what you need and yet trying to solve your own problems? These are things that as human beings we do automatically, because we have been taught to don't be vulnerable, deal with your own problems, or the mindset that says, I know the teaching, I know what to do, I just need to do it. But we don't live in a bubble. Healing does not take place in a bubble. Having change and newness and being open to the idea that any kind of heartache can be not only translated, but transmuted is something that calls us to actually change the things that we do. To bring together the spiritual part and the physical part of who we are together, to integrate them. Dr. Holmes says, to that reality, bondage is not even an illusion or a hallucination. There is part of us that is never fooled. That is why in the midst of the greatest trial, death, or any human suffering, something rises up from within, as it did with Job, and says, though I die, I live. Sometimes things need to die for there to be newness. It's just a reality of life. It's called faith. It's called trust. Out of the worst situations, humanity can be served. We can be served at an individual level. And it doesn't invalidate the pain of the situation for us to come to the place inevitably where we say, I am open to new and wonderful possibilities coming forward in my life. And just like the little frogs, sometimes we have to stop listening even to ourselves. You are the power. I'm not telling you something you don't know. I'm telling you something so that you can hear your response to the idea that you are the power. You think you're lacking in some way? I'm here to tell you different. There is nothing that you are lacking, no matter what the circumstance, no matter what the age of any kind, no matter the social, the economic situation, nothing. And when we align with that truth and say, yes, that's good enough for me, and I ought to have it, as Emma says, believe you me, it begins to show up. And like the oak tree, in ways that you might have not, the magnitude that you might not have even have anticipated. So this Wednesday, with the time that we have allotted to get together, I hope that, it's not just a one-time thing. And this is, in order to move forward, we need to start talking and sharing, talking about what you want, talking about anything that may stand in the way. I intend to have some time of the hour and a half that you'll be able to get in some groups and share with each other as a way of utilizing your relationships and your community, and it will be really whatever you bring to it, and whoever comes, whatever is brought to it. But we have stuff to do, and the board is strong, and I think there is a level of still uncertainty about who is this group, which the membership forms will really help. And in my reaching out to people, I made an announcement this morning at the Chico service because I was surprised how many people did not know that Paradise CSL is meeting here. And so they'll forget second and fourth, and that's okay. But they know. And I have also been, I can't tell you the last 2 days because I was here yesterday for the holistic healing. And then this morning, and a lot of people were congratulating me and congratulating all of you. And I was shocked at how many people said, well, where in Paradise are you meeting? Or even, are you back in the building? Yeah. So, there is something about people understanding that gets the energy because it's a supportive energy. And people want to help, and people will talk to other people as well. So anyway, people have asked me a lot of specific questions, and what I'm trying to say is that my answers have pretty much been, I don't know, we're not there yet, we haven't had that conversation yet. But I just want you to know that all of that is right here, waiting, ready to happen, and how do you feel about that? Are you ready? Let's go. Yes, okay, and do you need to know? We need to know some of these things. So anyway, that's what's happening. Come on Wednesdays, to all of them if you can. These 3 Wednesdays are closed meeting. We won't have people from the general population of the retirement center coming in. This is conversation for just us. And I look forward to it, see what's going to happen. And so it is. So I thought maybe, Jay, did you turn off the? Yeah, okay. So question? Here's some cards. Yeah. So as Julie said earlier, Wednesday mornings, this Wednesday, which is the 12th, following Wednesday is the 19th, and the following Wednesday is the 26th, from 10 to 11:30. And we do have a little bit of leeway to go over if, if we want to, except Alan and I are going to lunch this Wednesday. And so I will have some structure, but where we go with that will depend on things that you say and what's on your mind. I'm very much into communication. I have a lot of things that I want to know from you, too, as well. So, do you have any questions or any input? Not yet. Cheryl?
Everybody has been wallowing. As Mom said, it's 7 months, and everyone has been going through their own stuff. Whether it's replacing everything they lost or replacing the emotion of everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But there hasn't been a forum to talk about potential possibilities. It just hasn't been any forum at all. And it's kind of like what you said, that, oh my God, some people don't even know that the building isn't there anymore. So it's just a matter of, let's catch up with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then talk
Mm-hmm.
about what ideas some people have, and then let our imaginations wander with it a little bit.
Right.
Nothing is going to happen overnight, but we can maybe get some time frames and some ideas
Mm-hmm.
and some realities.
Yes.
How many are there of us? And what will we sustain?
Mm-hmm.
And we need each other. We need to feel the camaraderie and our soul, our communitive soul.
Right.
We haven't had that for 7 months, and it hurts.
Mm. Well, and I'm mindful of the fact that, I'm not Reverend Andy. Have that there's it's new no matter what. That there are some things that just won't be.
We've had time to let that. Okay. Yeah, it was an enormous shock that the first time we got together, we also heard that Andy wasn't going to be going through this with us.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also serendipitous that your little light of yours
It's shining.
came up, right there.
Mhm.
Oh my God, there it is. And that, your history is your history, and you know more about this than we do, about how to go through this.
Well, I don't think anybody has been quite through this, but
But you know how to get things moving.
so with that in mind, a conversation there'll be conversation, whether it's this time or later, about long-term vision. And then there's right now. So right now, what do you want? What would feel good? Do you want book study? Do you want some short workshops that are not a full class? Do you want a full class as well? Because we can really get a lot of things going fairly quickly, and it's my understanding that as long as there's a room available at Sycamore Glen, that we can use that space. And there are other religious scientists that are there, living there. And I suspect that they might wander in, or who knows, curiosity. So it's the whole thing, because there needs to be a structure and infrastructure and activities for people now, for all of you and for others who are not here today. Something for them to come to. This 2 o'clock is, maybe it's good, but it's not good for some people. And I've heard, last time we were together, it was really interesting. Who was the woman that used to come down and came over and volunteered a whole lot? She's up in Grass Valley now. Bev. So just listening to her talk about her situation was very eye-opening to me in what she's facing. What she's dealing with in rebuilding her life and where she's staying right now and wanting to be here, and but it not being something that she can do every time. So I'm sure that is the same for others in as well. I feel sensitive to the fact that I didn't experience what most of you experienced. My experience is from more of a bystander away. And so I know that there is an element of your experience that I won't necessarily be able to go, yeah, I had that exact same experience. But I thought, well, maybe there's an element of that is good. But anyway, here we are. Okay. All right. And so anyway, I look forward to beginning this conversation on Wednesday. And anything that you all can do to help to get the word out would be great. Julie's doing so much. I bug her almost every day lately. All right, well, so we're going to have refreshments? I think oh, that's right. Just completely went off track there.
Sit down.
All right, thank you.
Somebody's got to give direction, It's time for our offertory now, the opportunity to share. And so we will do our affirmation together 3 times. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. And so it is. I'm so grateful for all that takes place within each one of us, that we're able to share where we are, how we are, and to be in this wonderful setting, to be embracing this philosophy that allows us to empower ourselves, to know the truth, to speak the truth, and to create for each one of us our own special attitude of gratitude, and to know that the loving Spirit of God is everywhere present, right here, right now, and aren't we grateful? I'm grateful for everyone that has been here today, for all the help that has been given, and for the wonderful message from Reverend Christine. We are so well established and getting better and better and better, and each one of us knows that we have the ability for a conversation at the meeting on Wednesday. It feels good. it's safe, and it allows us to speak up, because that's what this is all about. And that is the goodness that comes forward. So that being said, I release these words knowing without a doubt that this and so much more is so. And together we say, and so it is. So we're going to do the peace song. Okay.
Okay.